of Devananda and verse 11. Hare Krishna. Am I audible now?
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So the previous verse was talking about just the translation I will read to just get a link. People respected him as a great teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam, yet because he was devoid of devotion, he did not know the confidential purport. Even though he had some qualification to understand, he was unable because of some offense that only Krishna knew. Text 11. दैवे प्रभु भक्त संगे से पाते या एका नेते ताना व्याख्या सुनी बारे पाया. Sorry, one second. By providence, the Lord and his devotees were going on that same road where they had heard his recitation. सर्वभूत हृदया जनाये सर्वतत्व ना सुनाये व्याख्या bhakti yogera mahatva. Being situated in the hearts of all living entities, the Lord knows everything. He did not hear the glories of devotional service in that recitation. Sri Yamunacharya has written that non-devotees are naturally offensive to the Supreme Lord and the devotees of the Lord. In the consideration of Nama Prada, it is also found that conditioned souls are unable to realize the Supreme Lord or themselves if they are offensive to saintly Vaishnavas. So, conditioned souls are unable to realize the Supreme Lord or themselves if they are offensive to saints. So, one should not be offensive to any Vaishnava nor even any living entity. Because of committing offenses, a living entity is overcome by ignorance. That is why, even though the living entity is not responsible, his ignorance is. Many foolish people consider Krishna and his pastimes to be mythical and their temporary imagination to be authentic. When they become free from offenses, they attain deliverance from direct sensual and hypothetical mundane understanding by accepting Krishna as the only authority or the pramana. In this regard, one should discuss the Srimad Bhagavatam verse beginning Naisam Matistavad Urukramangrim Naisam Matistavad Urukramangrim Sprissati Anartha अपगामो यद अर्थ महिष्याम पादारजो अभिषेकमानी अकिंचनानाम न वृणीत यावत. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way can one be freed from material contamination. So yesterday, while we were watching the offering for our beloved Guru Maharaj and the previous day, the Samadhi ceremony, there were a few devotees who are very close to Maharaj, and those young boys were rolling in the mud, the rolling in the mrita or uh, the mud around the samadhi by repeatedly paying obeisances and getting themselves completely covered by mud. So they were just taking the charan dhuli of all the Vaishnavas who had come there for the samadhi ceremony. At the same time, the Antim Yatra of our beloved Guru Maharaj to the samadhi area. So they had completely by just doing dandavats there in the samadhi area, they had completely covered themselves with the Brajaraj of Vrindavan. So unless one is completely surrendered to his guru and his Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, it's very difficult to say that mercy of the Supreme Lord will flow towards us. Krishna has said in various sections that if you are worshipping, trying to worship Krishna, but at the same time you are offending the Vaishnavas, offending the other devotees, Krishna is not at all pleased. So let's look at the next paragraph. Sitting in the hearts of all living entities, Gaura Chandra, Sri Gaura Hari is aware of everything. So in this prasanga, I am able to recollect our beloved Guru Maharaj. Even if you don't tell him anything, he knows what was going on in your heart. He knew many things which without anybody telling, it was being revealed to him. So he, like we say, no, Yasya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasad, Yasya Prasada, Nagati Kutopi. So for us, the Supreme Lord comes in the form of our Guru Maharaj or our Diksha Guru. And that is our Pratyaksha Praman of getting love of Godhead from our Guru Maharaj. So that way he was aware of what is happening in everyone's life. You can imagine he has so many devotees and he meets lakhs of people. It is said that when I've seen the videos when Maharaj's ambulance was coming towards Delhi temple in Greater Kailash, Dr. Radha Parthasarthi Mandir, lakhs of people were lined on the roads, had put flower rangoli with flowers and were showering petals and waiting eagerly. The darshan went on from 6 p.m. that day. After the initial senior Vaishnavas did some Guru Puja and Aarti, everything. After that, the public darshan for devotees, other devotees were left in the auditorium. That went on till 4 a.m., 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. There were Mataji's, Prabhuji's. The line was going on. I was watching till 1:15 a.m. and it never stopped. And that is why they got delayed and they reached Vrindavan the next day morning around 9 o'clock, 9:30. There again, lakhs of people were filled up in the hall, in the temple. So it is purely, if you look at the offering yesterday, his, if people have noticed Guru Maharaj's smile, he always had a smiling face. Nobody accounted of saying Guru Maharaj was angry at any point in time. He was always concerned. He was having his warmth. His smile was so transcendental smile, and he gave such a warmth, affection, and he was always concerned, asking, "How are you? How are things around you? How are things with you?" This kind of thing. Then, how is your chanting going on? These used to be his inquiries. And he used to say, please ask any questions, anything you want to know. So, he has given his 56 years of life to the moment. And if those of you who have seen in the video, even when he was totally almost unconscious, his hands were doing the deity worship. That is such an amazing and exemplary devotional service that every day he used to spend minimum 2 hours. 2 hours in front of his deities, bathing them, dressing them, applying his Shaligram Shilas with oil, Chandan, Tulsi, giving them snan with water. And at the same time, his assistant used to read the scriptures when Maharaj is doing the puja. And see in the Anta, at the last moment, his hands are just doing the same deity worship. So obviously, Krishna has called him back as his time on the material planet is over for the eternal service of their lordships back to Golok. So that is why we practice throughout the year. It is not that the bhakti is just for to be done only in the age of retirement. So when you do devotional service throughout your life, in the end also you will be only doing devotional service. And that time Krishna, even though you are not able to remember Krishna, Krishna will remember you because of all the time you have given him throughout your life. So Lord Gaura Sundara is fully aware of the insignificance of the process like Karma Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raja Yoga. And in order to spread the glories of Bhakti Yoga in this world and to bestow the highest benediction on the living entities, he has revealed these topics. He therefore never approved of any topics that did not glorify devotional service. So if you see the linkage, Srila Prabhupada has completely taken the parampara of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whatever teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord Himself, that is what Srila Prabhupada is giving to us. And in the same way, His Holiness Bibi Govind Swami yesterday narrated, he narrated about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught, that we have to read Srimad Bhagavatam every day, and we have to give the holy name to everybody without seeing their caste, creed, etc. And give the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra to everyone. This same thing, and Prithvi che ache nagaradi gram sarvatra prachar hobe more ishtanam and Janma Sartaka Kari Para Upakar. These were the mantras given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bharat Bhumi le Janmela Manushya Janma Jat Janma Sartaka Kari. Once you have taken the human birth in the Bharat Bhumi, how do you do your Sartakta? How do you attain your perfection? By doing Para Upakar. And what is the best Para Upakar? It is not about giving material things, but it is giving Krishna to others. So this has been completely taken by Srila Prabhupada. He took that mission when his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, had told him to go and preach in the West in English language, and that uska safalta dekh ke the whole world is dung. In 10 years, he opened 108 temples all over the world, including countries like Fiji. There are so many devotees of the Vartaman Acharya, and people have spread to China. Even in Prabhupada's time, Prabhupada told Tamal Krishna Goswami, you go to China. Prabhupada told our Guru Maharaj, you go to Russia. And Maharaj has been continuously going to Russia. I didn't know he knew Russian language. He knew French language. He could talk in Russian language. That is why he's attracted massive number of devotees from Russia, and they think Guru Maharaj's life greater than their life. That is the devotion they have for Guru Maharaj. So Maharaj knew you could give classes in Russian language, could give classes in French, and he was not only Guru Maharaj for devotees living in India, but people living in Africa, people living in other countries, Russia, America, Canada, everywhere. And we can see just by giving love, he could sometimes it is not just philosophy, it is the warmth and love which the Guru gives attracts so many devotees towards this path. And the same thing has been, Maharaj Bibi Govind Swami was saying, the same thing after Srila Prabhupada. His parshas are the sannyasis he made in his lifetime. Srila Prabhupada made, that includes our Guru Maharaj. He was made the GBC in 1968 itself. And he was also asked to continue to publish the books, because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj of Srila Prabhupada, had said, you may pull out the marbles of a temple and sell it off, but you should print books and distribute. And that has been taken up by our Guru Maharaj, as given down by Srila Prabhupada to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, that he kept on printing the books, took up the role of the trustee of the BPT and printed the books. Earlier, what was happening in Srila Prabhupada's time, the books were printed in America, in West Coast or East Coast of America, and we had to send money from here to there, and then they used to bring the books here, and it used to come in shipments. Later on, that BPT was established by Guru Maharaj in Juhu, later on expanded to all other places in India, and continued printing and publication of Srila Prabhupada's books. So certainly Guru Maharaj has pleased his Guru Srila Prabhupada, and then his devotees now are carrying forward the process of creating more temples, associating more people to this bhakti marg, and thereby helping everyone meet Krishna at some point in time. Text 13. कोपे बले प्रभु बेता की अर्थ वाखने भागवत अर्थ को न जन्मे ओ न जाने. In anger, the Lord said, what kind of explanation can this fellow give? He has never understood the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in any of his lifetimes. A Mahabhagavata possesses 26 transcendental qualities. Among them, surrender to Krishna is always the principal transcendental quality. These transcendental qualities are present in both the Supreme Lord and the devotees. That is why, in foolish people's concept of what is averse to devotional service, the display of anger in the form of instructions that cut apart material desires to counteract the living entity's unfavorable desire is called anger. Okay, let me read this again. These transcendental qualities, what we are talking about, that the Mahabhagavata has 26 transcendental qualities, and such qualities are there both in the Lord and the devotees. And why that is why in foolish people's concept of what is averse to devotional service, the display of anger in the form of instructions that cut apart material desires to counteract the living entity's unfavorable desires is called anger. So foolish people who are averse to devotional service, they display called anger, and that cuts apart the material desires with the transcendental thing. The attitude displayed by a person full of anarthas when his material desires are unfulfilled is extremely abominable. So the foolish person is always measuring himself with material desires. He has no idea about transcendental desires, and he has no goal or artha to reach there, no means to reach there. And when those material desires are not fulfilled, he becomes in a very pathetic situation, and he gets into a situation where he is constantly full of anger. Sri Gaura Sundara manifested this pastime of anger to reveal that there can never be any fault in the attitude of devotees of the Lord display for the benefit of people who are averse to the service of the Lord. So it is said that one can show krodha to only to show krodha to people who are having dvesha, bhakta jane. Those who are having dvesha towards bhakta jane, towards them you can show krodha. Otherwise, devotees generally don't show krodha to anyone. Those following the principle of superficiality who read many portions of scriptures consider Srimad Bhagavatam as one among the many scriptures, and being devoid of religious principles, they consider it an ordinary scripture. Therefore, they are unable at any time to understand the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam or the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their material desires from many lifetimes do not allow them to understand the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. Despite their recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, they remain afflicted with the defect of being devoid of devotional service because of their desire separate from Krishna. So when one align means have the same desire as the Supreme Lord's desire, then things fall into place. But then if we have Bahirmukha, we are looking away from Krishna, then what are we facing? Maya. So when we face Maya and we are constantly doing sense gratification and our material desires have no end, like the waves of the ocean, then we are not able to get back to Krishna. But for people who have realized that these waves of material desires are only constantly putting them into continuous phase of bondage, that creates bandhan to this material world and material life, the cycle of birth and death cycle. And those who turn antharmukh towards Krishna, that is when they will have desires which will be towards pleasing the Supreme Lord, and that aligns with Krishna's desire. So when you please Krishna, so what does Krishna wants? That his living entities who are part and parcel of Krishna have moved away from him because we wanted to lord it over nature. We wanted to be controllers without realizing that Krishna is the enjoyer and Krishna is the controller. But we think that we are enjoying this material world. Krishna has created this material world so that he gives us one anubhav for us to see that how we have continuous miseries, and whatever pleasure we get from it is very temporary, and whoever is surrounding us is one day going to leave us, and we are also going to leave our body. So once the person realizes this, then he turns towards Krishna and looks for Satchit Anand or eternality, full of bliss and full of knowledge. Okay, we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandat pranam.
Thank you,
Dandavat
Mataji.
pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dandat pranam, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. We will close the call here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.